I'm Mr. James, and I'm alone. Yes, and this is not a video edit problem. Mr. Ritchie is actually busy this week. We have our third trimester coming up, and we're both very busy trying to get ready for the next round of rotations with our students. And Mr. Ritchie has a very materials heavy curriculum to set up. And so he couldn't make it this week, which is very surprising, but it may be the only one time that this happens. But that doesn't mean we're not going to visit with him throughout the show. I've pre-recorded some videos, and I'm going to try to do my best to take you on the same journey. So it is season 4, episode 10, show number 49. We're almost to 50. How is everybody doing? It's Friday. I decided to do it a day later. I wanted to get an extra video in from him before I do my day of editing. I'm in a different location, same house, different room, maybe a little bit more echoey, possibly. Looks like the lighting's pretty bad, but you only see a small part of me, so that's okay, right? I decided to call this episode Going Solo. Kind of sounds sad, right? Yeah, I guess it's a little sad. Hey, look what I can do. I can make my screen a little bit bigger now that I only have myself to look at. All right. Okay. Notice the hill in the background. Maybe somebody's going to be doing a solo hike or not. Maybe someone just took a picture before a group decided to go over it. So after most of the slides, I'll be sharing a little video with Mr. Ritchie. These are some of the questions that students have asked him over the years, as well as maybe a question I might have asked, and some just general funny things. So let's get on with it. I'm going to try to keep this as very much similar to what we've had for shows. So I'm going to try to hit upon everything. But there are certain fortes that Mr. Ritchie has and certain slides that he takes care of. So let me try to do my best, okay? So starting with COVID updates as of March 12th, 2021. So most of the time, Mr. Ritchie does a 7-day average. Before that, he did something different than that. I decided to figure out what happened overall as far as the amount of people that have been infected and the amount of people have died. Going from the very small, our state of Maine to USA to the entire world. So Maine has had 47,000 cases and 723 deaths. We've seen a little bit just recently, just a little bit more of a rise going up. And of course, there's those that don't want to wear the mask and they're fighting about let's opening everything up and let's make sure all the kids go back to school full time and this and that. And I know a lot of teachers right now are fighting to go online at like weird hours of the night or early morning to get signed up for a vaccine, even though for the most part they want those age 60 plus to go in, but you can slide in. I'm currently on something called a waste list, so that if they had a vaccine and someone doesn't show up, they can call me up and say, just get on over here. We can give it to you right now. Otherwise, I'm not going to, right now, I don't have the luxury and time and stuff like that to go on and just constantly be checking and updating every few minutes for like hours on end. Especially since I go to bed at like 9 a.m. and wake up at like a little after 5 a.m. 9 p.m. I go to sleep and wake up at 5 a.m. So it's like, yeah, I like to keep my sleeping time. I think that's how I was going to keep myself healthy. So in the USA, we have 29.3 million and growing and 531,000 deaths. That seems huge. It's just such a giant number. And definitely not reflected in this state, but we did have, we mentioned like a month or so ago where we had the average of like 800 people being infected a day. And it just seemed like, wow, this is never going to end. In the world, 119 million and 2.63 million deaths. So quite a bit. And with this big fight going on, everyone doesn't want to wear masks. Everybody wants to get things back to normal. And we know this, this is almost a year since we first went. Actually, by tomorrow, it marks 1 year that the schools shut down. So that's quite a a milestone that some of us are getting vaccines right now. We're able to get the vaccine right now, the first. That doesn't mean no mask. That doesn't mean that you're completely safe. I found that wearing a mask is a great thing. To me, I don't want to have a cold. I don't want to get strep throat again. I don't want to get pneumonia again. This is everything that happened in the first year for me teaching public school, or in this school specifically, because I did subbing after that, but it was horrible. So if a mask is going to keep me from getting those problems, yes, I'll wear one for the rest of my life, I guess, right? Get some decent mask. We've got a decent mask coming in too. We're waiting for one. It's just better that way, I think. Well, let's check on the first video I have for Mr. Ritchie.
Hey, Mr. Ritchie. Oh, hey. Any updates on the rocket program?
I have a really good update. Instead of making our rockets out of toilet paper tubes, which could potentially catch on fire and may not fly straight, I have found numerous donors to help purchase kits, actual rocket kits, for our students. And we will be flying the Estes Viking, 150 flights of the Estes Viking in the next coming few months. And so, very big update, and as well as some of these guys will take flight as well.
Wow.
Yeah, so very good news in the rocketry forum.
All right.
All right, moving on to science in the news. And I figured I'd only do one this week. One thing that kind of just caught my eye, because here's another big buzzword disease that we hear about, virus, Ebola. So the latest Ebola outbreak may have started with someone infected years ago. So basically what happened, they're saying, wait a minute. So they compared this strain, what they found, with something in the past, and they said, these are almost genetically identical to the outbreak that people were talking about, 2013, to 16, whatever. So what's going on here? It turns out it's the same exact one, and it was lying dormant in somebody, and it finally kind of manifested, which makes them, they don't really know how that could have happened. But I mean, they're incredibly upset that something like that could happen. I mean, they just what I've read in the article, they said it was kind of like a mystery. It's weird that it did that. So hopefully they can figure out what went on with that. Because I mean, the fact that you could have something in your body and you can't get rid of it, and it's dormant, and it's going to come out at any time in the future and kind of ruin your life or take your life, and maybe take others' lives, which is horrible. It's it's just something that I'm hoping that doesn't happen with this. Mr. Ritchie and I did talk earlier about wondering if we had it already, even though we wouldn't have, maybe we were just so healthy we didn't feel it. But being upset about that you might have had this before, and now you're trying to get to the vaccine, and everyone's fighting for that. But if we had it already before, then okay, that's kind of the same thing as getting the vaccine. But it's not so, I guess we'd have to get a special test to see if we had built up those antibodies and everything. So testing, we just need better testing. We need faster testing. We need it to be more readily available. And honestly, send out the kits in the mail. Just like have everybody test themselves, and plug into some meter and have it give you a readout, maybe buy little test strips and constantly be testing yourself, for however long you need to, and then send the meter in every time once they believe the pandemic's over with. So just a good idea for those that like to quantify, right? Well, let's check on Mr. Ritchie again.
Hey, Mr. Ritchie.
Whoa, hey there.
How's the rocket program going? Whoa.
Fantastic. I am rocket wealthy right now. I've got different kits for the kids. I've even got a water rocket launcher.
What?
Bottle rocket launcher for 3rd and 4th graders to...
Whoa.
Let's see if we can open this up. Here's Christmas.
Hey. Everyone has fun with that.
Looks like a real
Whoa.
piece of machinery here. And that is a water rocket launcher. That is not something you can find on Amazon. This is just for educators. And we are the educators.
Yeah, where's the plutonium?
Yeah, that I keep in the back.
All right, good. I can try that. Hey, why is space so big?
Because it's mixed in with time. And because it's been such a long time since space started, that's just getting exponentially bigger every time. In fact, wait a minute, right now, it's already bigger. It's just constantly expanding and increasing in speed as it expands. So therefore, it is the closest thing to infinity that exists.
Oh, wow. Mind blown.
All right, moving on. I figured I'd go through every one of these sections. Even without Mr. Ritchie, I still think we need to keep this format. I think it's pretty good. So for those that cannot see, there's a giant head silhouette filled with question marks. And this is the From an Educator slide I always use in the section. And I wrote this prepping for the unknown. Mr. Ritchie and I right now are currently prepping for the unknown. We've gone through our entire student body, cohort A, B, and cohort C at home for 2 trimesters. And during a trimester, you've got 4 rotations. The first rotation generally is the worst, and that has nothing to do with the students. It has the fact that if you're making your curriculum up, you're trying it out for the first time and you're seeing how you need to tighten things and maybe which way it can kind of go in a little bit more in depth. And by the 4th rotation, you basically have something that works very well. And it's unfortunate because then you have to start over again for the next rotation after that, which is rotation 1 again. And yeah, you could have, when we started this year, we didn't have the technology and we had to send students home with QR codes to go on to link to us. And most of them didn't do anything. And we didn't have a way of like, did you do it? And they didn't either respond to us or they said no. And, whatever it was, some did, some didn't. It was sort of up in the air. And then all of a sudden when we got technology, we could finally, get some of that feedback from students as well as hold them accountable. And we have had, issues of giving, some pretty disheartening grades for those that didn't do the work because they haven't been doing it. I've kind of changed my way of how I've been doing that sort of thing by just giving them a lot more different things to work on and trying to find out how I can get them to gravitate towards something, because music, which is my specialty, is going to be very broad, and I am covering dance, I'm covering instruments, I'm not covering voice because the fact that we cannot sing this year, but I am covering how to read music, rhythms, all of the stuff, elements of music. And we are definitely learning a lot, and I'm putting a lot of things online, and I have so many great plans for this next trimester as well. It's just trying to get it out and figuring out how to schedule everything. So I spent a long day at the school today afterwards, basically just sorting things out. And so did Mr. Ritchie, and he does this every single day. So he's definitely as you'll see in some of these videos, he's kind of buried in a lot of different things. So prepping for the unknown, which we're doing right now, I would like to say that I always have a backup plan or many plans, and I realize that my curriculum is going to change. Now, that could just be per class, where this class can't really handle this right now. I have to do something different, or it's just maybe I just don't feel at this point that this is going to be something that I should really work with and pursue. I haven't had too many major changes, but have had something where I said, what I'm teaching is going in this is I think it's going in this one direction, but it's actually going in this other direction. So I kind of switch things around. And then it ends up being so much more effective. It just makes more sense. And I kind of get a better response. And I did that several times this year in small, tiny ways, but it worked out great. Will it work next year? Next year, if we have a lot of students, it's probably not going to work. I don't know. And that's my biggest problem. So I don't know what's going to happen. Playing for the unknown. But it does mean that everything I do, I end up getting better at it, and it becomes more focused. So the more things I do, the more things I can draw from. I actually had a thing this year where I remembered what I've done in previous years and remembered how great some of these activities and some of these lessons went, and remember that, every single year I totally wipe the slate clean and start brand new. Sometimes I don't even reuse old, any of the old things I use, slides I might use online, or some of my old, I have a lot of things for rhythms and things like that, cards and stuff like that. And then we use it. Don't even use it. I find a new version of it. Everything's going to be fresh and new. And, that reinventing is very tiresome and just it takes a long time to produce that. But I just feel it gets better. I think it gets better. I think I'm able to explain things better, and I want it to look like as good as what I explain. So Mr. Ritchie had to say, nothing for this because he's not here. But he does have to say this.
Hey, Mr. Ritchie.
Hey!
Why is the sky blue?
Well, it's called Rayleigh scattering. Rayleigh scattering is when white light from the sun hits the atmosphere, and because the atmosphere is mostly made out of 70% nitrogen, tends to scatter the light out. But blue waves tend to scatter out better or easier than red waves. The red waves kind of make it through short wavelength, and the blue rays scatter out. Oh, actually, you know what? It's a long wavelength. Red is long wavelength. But Rayleigh scattering makes the sky blue.
Oh, and so climate change isn't real.
And that is not the conclusion you should draw from that answer.
All right. On to the slide that I forgot to change the picture of since last week. If you're watching this, yeah. It says going solo on one side. The other side, it shows all of these people putting their hands together, which is the total opposite of going solo. It's a lot of people getting together. Let's go solo. Yes. Okay, I'm going to go in this direction. You guys can go in the separate directions and don't talk to each other. Bye. So I'm asking if you can read this on the page, but if you can, and if you're listening, I'll read it off to you. First thing, is this boring? Is it boring listening to one person talk? Do you watch YouTube and watch other people talk? Probably have great lighting. They probably have great video cameras. They have some good sound. I've got some great sound. I've got some very professional, nice high-end microphones here, and I'm an audio expert. But just imagine this, somebody else you're watching. Why do you watch somebody who's talking by themselves? What are you interested in? Are they famous? Do they have some sort of physical attribute that you really like? Are they really good at sports, athletic? Are they teaching you something? Hopefully one of those things, and not just sitting down and having a mukbang and eating in front of the camera and just talking about whatever's off the cuff. I tried to do that on another YouTube channel, and I ate too fast, and I was like, wow, 2 minutes. It was horrible. Yeah, so if this is something you like, then maybe this could be, I could have a spin-off podcast, but I'm not thinking about that really. I'm just thinking about, I can't wait till Mr. Ritchie is back and our banter can fill this time. Okay. So if it's not boring, thank you. Thank you for sticking along. He's going to be back next week. Diversity is lacking though. When I go solo, there's no diversity. There's no other person I can bounce ideas off of. And it's nice having more than one person talking. It's nice being able to say something and have someone answer you back, maybe rebuke what you said, argue a little bit, and so they can get to a point where they can distill what you said down to something where you can say, yeah, I guess I didn't make myself clear enough. And that's basically why we have, governments and groups that criticize things and each other and make things happen when there's a lot of people voting, because that's how we need things to work. We need many different voices. And so maybe the picture I have that, for those that can see the screen, of many different hands coming together, that's a great one. That's diversity right there. And when you go solo, you don't have that diversity. So no person is an island. So don't think that you can have a solo channel and just talk all the time to the camera without, at least drawing from some diversity. Those that sort of wall themselves up alone, it's always where the crazy stuff comes out. And yeah, it's not so good. We always like to have a balance with so many other things. Will we be back? Yes, we will. That was my last quote, my last bullet point. Will we be back? Yes, better than ever. Episode 50 is coming up. It's going to be great. I think he's going to get his curriculum underhand. I'm going to get mine underhand. I've got a lot of work to do this weekend, but I'm going to have all of my online stuff planned out. And I have a series of videos I'm going to make. And I'm going to be, gung-ho all during the week. I might even wake up earlier than 5 a.m., trying for that 4:30 time, but I think I'm going to have to go to sleep at 8 a.m., 8 p.m. to do that. So I don't know why I keep saying a.m. and p.m. and get that messed up. Yeah, hey, it's what happens when you wake up really early, right? You just kind of get things. What does Mr. Ritchie have to say, though?
Oh, no, you didn't eat that, did you?
I think it's for eating. Still chewing it.
Phalim? How do you say it?
I think it's phalim.
Phalim.
Oh no, maybe that's too Americans. So, phalim?
Yeah,
maybe?
please tell us.
Well, if you enjoy the sensation of chewing on soft rubber, and if you don't enjoy gum with flavor, this is the gum for you.
Yes, and look at, there's more than enough, so
Yeah.
any subscribers want a piece? Here you go.
That's right, I'll mail one out to you. You let us know, you can try it out. But this will do what now? You said something about helping us.
Helps our muscles in our,
in the jaw,
yeah, it's going to increase the muscle density. Thanks, James Nestor, for your suggestion. Taste-wise,
Tastes like gum that has already been chewed.
on the bedpost overnight.
Yeah.
All right. I don't really have a rant at all today. I don't think I have a rant. No. Okay, I'll rant. I'll rant on something. 60-second rant. Let's do something. All right. Well, let me just talk about being solo, right? Is solo bad? It's starting again. Okay, by mistake, I did that. Okay. I don't think it's so bad that I'm solo. What am I kidding? It is bad. It's bad. This is a podcast that was made from two people that got together because of COVID-19 and like-minded in science. And when there's only one person, you see how things happen, right? It's a lot of me talking and interspersed with some funny videos that I made with Mr. Ritchie. I'm still having edited anything yet, so I'm hoping it all comes together. One of these is recorded on a webcam. The other videos are recorded on a Pixel Google phone. So hopefully that ties everything together. In the future, though, maybe it's going to be recorded on something really nice. And we're looking into that. And we're also looking into a long summer that's hopefully COVID-free and full of new tech surprises. All right, how was that for a rant? Possibly okay. And maybe here I insert another Mr. Ritchie video.
Oh, look at all these different colors up here. Let's see what we've got. Oh, looks like it ended. Wait a minute. Mr. Ritchie, are colors real?
Colors are not real. They're a human construct. That
What?
only happens in your mind. That is why you can't think of a new color that doesn't exist. Because it is just a difference in wavelength, and our brain has evolved to interpret it as different color as a way to organize them into something that's different from one another. But no, color does not exist. It is a figment of the imagination.
Wow. Look at those plants.
They are not green. Our brain interprets them as green. Some of them are yellow.
All right. Well, we made it to the end of the episode. This was the fastest episode I've recorded ever because the editing is going to add some length to it. I do have a picture we have at the end of this season where it's Mr. Ritchie and myself in a room together holding microphones and kind of arguing, and I put some quotations up, and I change it every single week to make it funny. His quote is, "I am not part of this episode." And my quote is, "I know, I wrote your quote." And it's totally true. I do most of the editing here. But thank you for coming along. I want to make sure we have this continuation. We're not going to try to miss any weeks at all, take weeks off. And if we ever do, it'll be something, we'll have something already in the bank that we can send out to everybody. Thank you to everyone who is listening. Hopefully subscribe, have others subscribe, listen to us, especially if you like science, you want to learn about some people from Maine, you want to learn about teaching in general. I think we'll get, after, who knows, we're going to come up on a year pretty soon. And if you look through some of the episodes, you can piece out some tidbits of certain things. I know even in this episode, Mr. Ritchie kind of blew my mind in a few things, and I think it's great to always be taking in information. I've been reading a lot of books recently, most of them about breathing and all these exercises for breathing. I do think in one of the little tiny videos I showed of Mr. Ritchie, James Nestor, who wrote the book Breathe. And I think that's amazing, and it linked to so many other books that, on this little screen right now. And I'm starting to practice some of this stuff. But yeah, it's working, and I think the next step I need to do is tape my mouth shut so I can breathe through my nose. If you're wondering why I would say that, look that up on YouTube, because I'm sure he gives a talk about it somewhere. So until next time, I'm Mr. James, one half of the Educators. Have a good night or day.